All right, now after the PPE scandals during COVID-19, many were saying never again. But the Auditor-General has red flagged several procurement contracts in KwaZulu-Natal as the province has been rebuilding following the fatal flooding in April. Roads and bridges were damaged, costing billions of rand. The initial audit findings show that there's a risk of corruption around rebuilding state-owned properties. The Auditor-General has recommended an investigation into the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure over the possible misuse of public funds. To discuss, we're now joined by the Public Works and Infrastructure National Minister, Patricia de Lille. Minister, thank you for being with us. We all remember the President announcing that things would be very different in KwaZulu-Natal, that we had learned there would be live audits. So that sounded like a great measure to prevent corruption from happening around these rebuilding contracts, but seemingly not.
Yes, most definitely. People just did not listen. The President did ask the Auditor-General to do live audits, which she did. And out of the live audits, we found that some of the companies appointed by our department to deal with flood issues, some companies never traded with the government before. They were not on the government register. Some of them also belong to state employees. Some of them were just recently registered. And when the Auditor-General alerted us with her live audit, we moved very swiftly to make sure that we don't have a repeat of the PPE scandals during COVID-19. So it's thank you to the Auditor-General for her live audit. And now we have started a further investigation. We have also stopped any further payments to the companies mentioned by the AG. And after the investigations, there will certainly be consequence management.
So what is the difference between a live audit and a normal audit? It does sound like we are being alerted to the possibility of corruption sooner rather than later. Is that the difference? And you talk about payments being made. I mean, how many payments have already been made?
Well, yes, the difference is that with the live audit, the Auditor-General start asking for documents and check those documents as we are rolling out the procurement. Under normal circumstances, the Auditor-General will do the auditing only at the end of the financial year, and then we would have been informed. So that is the key difference.
All right, so, I mean, if this is all true, it sounds like there needs to be a little bit more digging. But if this is all true, then state officials knew that there were live audits. They still felt a degree of impunity and went ahead with sort of enriching themselves. Is that correct?
Definitely. Corruption is so embedded in the public service. People are greedy. They take chances all the time. This time around, they were caught out very, very quickly. And all of these allegations must be tested. But it is the system. You know, the sooner we get the new procurement bill before Parliament and we start changing our procurement legislation, the PFMA has been thoroughly tested by public service who must follow the rules of the PMFA. So we are in trouble. Definitely, people are just taking chances. And in this instance, the Auditor-General is going to save us a lot of money. Yeah. So we're really thankful for that.
And you say the officials involved will be held to account. So this is the national department now investigating the provincial department. Do you have the authority to fire people? Will there be criminal prosecutions? What's going to happen now?
It is not a provincial department. It is a regional office in KwaZulu-Natal of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Remember, we were all asked to come in. We had to repair some of the buildings damaged by the storm, some of the bridges damaged by the storm. We also had to fix the Air Force base so that they could use the Air Force base. So every department had their own mandate to carry out during the floods. And that's why I went also for an oversight visit 2 weeks ago to go and see just the progress on the repairs and damage to the floods. We have also released 4 parcels of land to the Department of Human Settlements so that they can resettle some of the flood victims that are currently still kept in halls.
There were some concessions made even before the flooding. I remember the Premier talking about low-lying bridges that actually put people's lives in danger. So while we're on it, I mean, now there's corruption involved. Is there a concerted effort to ensure that bridges, that buildings are built back better, as we often say now?
Well, first of all, we are working in partnership with the Department of Defense. Our own soldiers, the architects and the professional services from the Defense Force, they are building the bridges. As Public Works, we procure the material, and then we also employ local labor to help the Defense Force to build the bridges. There's been no misuse as far as the bridges are concerned. And we continue to roll out the bridges. There was a demand for more bridges after the flood, and the KZN province has committed to pay for the extra 6 bridges that were added to the list that Public Works must rebuild and restore.
Minister, something else before you go. Parliament, the reports today saying that you've said it'll cost more than R1 billion to rebuild Parliament. And of course, at the time of the fire, there was concern about lack of insurance, about the way public facilities are being not only maintained, but guarded.
Yes.
Do we have this money in the first place?
Well, first of all, that the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure appointed an independent assessor, Kucha Corporation. They did the assessment. I provided the report to the Speaker of Parliament in May, and we were waiting on a date to brief the portfolio committees, which will now take place on the 9th of September. The full report ran into about over 800 pages. And yes, when you look at the expenditure to repair the old assembly, it's over 300 million rand. And then the expenses to repair the National Assembly is over 900 million rand. So it's over 1.2 billion rand that we are projecting at this stage. Now, once Parliament has given us the go-ahead refurbishment, then we will proceed. We have also handed the report over to the National Minister of Finance, Minister Godongwana, and on the 21st of September, I will also give Cabinet a report about the outcome of the assessments.
All right. Thanks, Minister. We have to leave it there. Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Patricia de Lille updating us. We'll follow closely what action is taken after those live audits found a risk of corruption across several contracts in KwaZulu-Natal, as well as the rebuilding of Parliament. Now that price tag essentially to go to government and Parliament itself.